Rich Lamont. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. So today I'm tying the bronze pirate. Just keep in mind throughout the video that there is a lot of cutting and splicing. Unfortunately, this fly was extremely challenging, and I did have to go back and start over quite a few times on different sections of the fly. I tried to leave some of it in there as best I could, but it would have been, several hours of you guys just watching me going back and fiddling with feathers, and so I had, for time's sake, I had to shorten it. But I really hope you guys enjoy this fly. I learned a lot from it, and it turned out absolutely beautiful. I couldn't be happier. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, I'm Rich Lamont. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. I picked a good video to start. This is going to be a good video. So today's fly is the bronze pirate. This one is, I'm taking it from Kelsons' blue Boyne set. Reference for that, you can find the recipe on it. Feathers MC has an example of it on the section called the Salmon flyer. You can look up the recipe there. So that's where I'm getting all this from. The hook that I'm using is a Lars Mahler. It's about a 2.0. And the thread I'm using is 12.0 Vivis. Alright, so the tag, I've already gone through and gutted it. This is fully gutted all the way to here. This is a tinsel bodied fly, so I want to have it as smooth as I can possibly get it. So the tag is silver twist, so I'm using Uni-French silver twist. I've only got it in medium, so that might be a little bit big, but we'll look at that real quick when we tie it on. It does burnish out rather smooth, so I might have to strip out one of the strands. Silver twist has, I think, 3 strands in it, so if it is a little bit thick for this, then we can just go ahead and strip out one of the strands and overlap it just a little. I'm going to try to blend the taper a little bit. And the tag has a little bit of one. And we're not going to go all the way back to the barb valley. We'll go close, but not all the way. It's hard to see because of the piece of leather in the way there. There it goes. Every video. Don't want to disappoint you guys now. Well, these are some new bobbins. I'm just getting used to them. I've been having issues too with one of my threads, and I'm trying to figure out if it's the bobbin or the thread. I fear there may be a burr in the ceramic on the bobbin itself. I think it's the bobbin. I keep seeing little strands coming up. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. I keep seeing these little... Alright, so I want the butt to end. I think that's good. I'm sorry, I want the butt to start there, not end there. Actually, I think I want to start this farther back. I want it to be a little bit longer than that. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but that's how I'd like it to be. Just a little. Alright, so I'm going back to one of my old bobbins for now. There's my old one. Alright, let's see if this happens again now. Two bobbins are both brand new and they're both doing this, and I happen to be breaking a lot of thread with them. Alright. Shall we try this again? Let's see what happens now. This is also metal tinsel, so, but it didn't look like it was breaking up at the tinsel. It looked like it was breaking down here. That's good. No more than that. So we have the tinsel up to just before the hook point. We want to leave room for the butt. Alright, the tail for this is toucan, which I've got a rickery toucan. I think sulfur-breasted toucan is what it actually calls for. I mean, it just says toucan, but all the examples I've seen look much darker than what I've got. But we're going to go with it. Now, I did make an attempt at this pattern before, and about a week ago actually, and this is where I ran into an issue. The toucan rachis is, the stem is shaped funny, and it's extremely hard So trying to crush it or flatten it to get it to cooperate is almost impossible. So I'm using a generous amount of wax here to try to get it to cooperate. So you guys are going to see this. This will be a pass or fail type of thing, and I don't like the idea of doing it, but if this wax idea doesn't work and the toucan doesn't want to sit on there nicely, then I may actually have to go to a super glue type situation, which of course I don't want to do. I kind of think of it as, if those guys, the men back in the day, if Kelson was able to do it, in theory I should be able to do it. So I'd like to give that a really good effort. I've talked to a few other fly tyers, and there's no doubt in my mind that if Kelson were in today's world and had what we have available, there's no doubt in my mind that they would use whatever possible to make it easier for them. But doing it like they did it is rather nice, if it can be completed. Okay, so I've got 3 toucan feathers here, and I can't really show you the shape of the stem. It's hard to see, but you'll see it when I tie it in. It's a odd shape, and they want to just pitch and roll and go in every direction except the direction that you want them to. So I'm hoping laying down that wax sort of helped. Nope. Seem to have. They still seem to want to just see. I don't know. Yep, this is gonna challenge me. So I'm gonna add a little more wax. This will be my final attempt. Otherwise I'll be pulling this wax. Oh geez, that's a lot. I'll be pulling the wax off, and we'll just move on to, I guess, super glue. I almost feel like putting a little channel It just immediately wants to flip over. Just does not want to cooperate. Well, for the sake of time in the video, I'm going to back this up, and I'll see you guys in a minute, and we're going to come on with plan 2. Okay, so here's my thinking. I am going to use some underbody material and I have to build up a taper on the body anyway. So I'm going to use this, lay down a layer, and try and get some laid down back here where that's got to tie in, and then we'll use some super glue right here. Maybe this will be soft enough to let it sink in a little bit. I tried this before, but it didn't seem to want to go my way then. That's good enough for now. Okay, so here's my thinking. I am going to use some underbody material and I have to build up a taper on the body anyway. So I'm going to use this, lay down a layer, and try and get some laid down back here where that's got to tie in, and then we'll use some super glue right here. Maybe this will be soft enough to let it sink in a little bit. I tried this before, but it didn't seem to want to go my way then. Okay. That's good enough for now. Alright, so the Arickery toucan I don't think is going to work. The fly I'm actually tying this for, or the person I'm tying this fly for, the gentleman had supplied the feathers, the Impian feathers and the toucan feathers, but I don't think I'm going to be able to use those. I do have a couple of aerial toucan feathers. It's not much. I actually didn't see this package. So I'm going to see if maybe these are a little bit more forgiving and if these will maybe work for me. Cross your fingers. Okay. Already this stem looks different. I don't know what it is about. Interesting. No, can't do that. Okay, that looks fine to me. No glue, no adhesive. I'm going to put a drop of Sally Hansen's on there anyhow. And then we're going to let it dry. Alright, well that was fun. Alright, note to anybody that wants to tie the bronze pirate. Don't use Arickery toucan. Use aerial toucan. Alright, so that's had a chance to dry. I don't know why I didn't look for that earlier, but I think that works. That looks pretty good. Alright, so now we'll go back to the ostrich row. And we'll just strip away a little bit right here at the base of the quill. And we're going to tie this on with the fuzzy side facing upward, and that's going to help get it into position to tie it in correctly. Now towards you, and then up, and then that away over the top. And that should set you up with the fuzzy side facing the rear. And then all you have to do is just make your wraps touching. And we can trim away the rest of this, rest of the rope. And try to get underneath that. Get rid of some of those stems, see if we can keep this somewhat smooth up here. There we go. Nice. Okay, so the tinsel for the body is a flat tinsel with a fine tinsel around it. So now you can use a metal flat tinsel, which is what I'm going to use here. This is a Lagarden flat metal. I think this would be about a number 10, but you could also use Danville's. This is two-sided Mylar, so it's silver on one side and gold on the other. The Mylar is a little bit easier to work with, but there's really, I think this metal looks better. What I'm going to do first is the tip on the tinsel, we're going to cut at an angle. And then the first turn you make, that angle will kind of help cut down on any fold or lump that you might have from a fold. Alright, so I just went back and was looking at the recipe. It's actually silver twist in the blue Boyne recipe, so silver twist it is. So that I'm going to tie on actually just on the farther edge. Of the other tinsel. The silver twist shouldn't create too much of a lump here. And it's actually pretty, it flattens out pretty good. So now this body's got to be in 3 equal segments. So I'm going to grab a ruler quick, and we've got almost exactly 1 inch to work with. So let's see. We're going to be I don't think that's right. Okay, those are my lines. That's where we want to have the bronze feathers. So I've seen this tied several different ways, where they tie the feathers in first and then tinsel around them. I'm going to attempt the tinsel up to them and then tie in each pair. This is in the correct position. There we go. There's a lump right there. So what I'm also going to do is add a little bit of wax. That's going to help the tinsel from sliding. Okay. Now we'll just make touching turns all the way back. We'll get back to the butt. Get back to it. We'll turn and head back to the midpoint. Touching turns, they're not overlapping. They're just touching. here, there's a little bit of a gap and a lump right there, so I'm just going to go back a little bit here. And figure out how to do away with it. Alright, so now the first pair. First pair of the Malindas pheasant. I've got them paired up here. Now what you do is you want them to be curving backwards, following that natural curve of the feather. And we're going to lay it right on the hook shank, this flatter part there. We'll keep them side by side, or back to back rather. They should stay relatively easily. Make sure that they are the same size and that you've stripped away enough of the fibers so that way they're even. And then make a little bit of a kink right at the tie-in point, at the base of those fibers. And then when you go to tie it in, you can hold it from both sides. This is where a rotary vise really comes in handy. If those of you are out there watching this and you don't have a rotary vise, you can do great stuff with a stationary vise, don't get me wrong, but a rotary vise really does help in a lot of these types of flies. I know where the slipper's going on here. Alright, that looks good. I just want to grab one of the next feathers and line that up with it and make sure that they are going to sit well together. I think it's absolutely going to sit well with it. Well, that was the main one. Top, top here. Okay, that was the wrong feather. This one will still fit just nice. Okay, so that's good. So now let's get the top pair on. And we're just going to get some of these stripped off of here. That first pair was already stripped. This is kind of compiled of several different lots of feathers. So you'll notice this one has a little bit more red. This one's got a little bit more pink in the metallic. I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but they do have slightly varying shades of metallic in them. In fact, I'm actually going to try to get these on there within a couple wraps of one another. You want to try to keep your thread build up as much as down as much as possible. You don't want to have too much thread build up here, especially since the body tinsel is all connected. There's no butts. Quite literally, all the body segments of tinsel are connected. And I could have left that tinsel longer and hung it down and tied it. But I could have left it hanging and then continued on and tried to do it as one strand. I'll try that on my next attempt at this pattern. I don't particularly care for how these two are sitting. Hold on, let me see if I can find I have a couple others. Let me see if one matches better than this. Alright, so I got another pair here that seems to fit much better. So let's tie this one in. There we are. Alright, these need to be getting larger in order. So, you also want to make sure that you don't have too much thread buildup, because you can actually have your tinsel come all the way back to here and then go forward again. So you don't want to have a huge lump right here where your tinsel is going to be meeting this other tinsel that's ended. Alright, so now the bottom pair. Bear with me here. I think these are going to have to get moved forward to the next pair, and I have to use a shorter, smaller pair for these rear ones. Alright, once again, I am back. Apologize for the wait. Alright, so for the bottom pair, we're going to use these, which are just a shade smaller than the ones I had initially planned on using. Then we'll just pull a few of these fibers out to make them even. And then right at the tie-in point, which is at the very end of the feathers, you don't want to have any of the stem exposed. Make a slight little kink. Just do 2 wraps to secure it, and then we can use our needle to kind of pick through it and arrange them so that they look nice. There's the rear first pair. And now the top pair. Same thing, we'll just line these up. Get the edges nice and even. We're just going to back wrap just the one to try to get a little bit less thread onto that shank. And if you look right down the fly, it should be nice and flat all the way down. My dog getting ferocious in the background. And then the rest of these you can clip off, and I'm actually going to back this up a little, because our tinsel will have to come back to that point right here. There we go. Got a little bit better. Okay, we'll move on to the next body segment. Alright, so it's actually the next day here, and we are continue working on this bronze pirate. Now I'm going to actually, I'm going to clip these just a little bit farther back here where they're thinner. These stems on the Indian feathers. Those are probably going to end up showing through the tinsel, so I'm going to lay down a little bit of underbody material and thicken up this body section here. If you ever look at the bronze pirate, the majority of them, the body actually gets thicker as we move forward. And typically there you want to taper out towards the nose or towards the eye of the hook, so that way when you tie in your head, you're working with a small diameter. But with this fly, it seems like a lot of them are tied gradually getting thicker as they get towards the front, and then a very steep drop off towards for the head. But it is a hurl head. This fly has certainly presented some challenges along the way so far. I think I've got it figured out now. Okay, so we'll wrap another layer of another section of tinsel. Alright, so I've got that tied in by that tip just like we did in the rear. And we'll make our first turn. Yep, I think I've got it backwards again. The idea is to, when you create that first turn, that you're actually turning into the angle you create. And that helps you when you're actually trying to wrap your thread in an angle for your spacing. Alright, so we're at the next body segment. I went ahead and just added a little bit of underbody material, and I've got the next section of tinsel. Again, we're using the flat Garden, and I've cut the angle into it. And now we'll wrap just like we did the rear segment. Actually, it's actually the next day. I'm working on this fly for a few days. Again, we'll just do touching turns. Should be able to just overlap that last body segment just enough. And then turn and head back. Keeping the turns touching but not overlapping. At least that's how I'm doing it. I would think that you could do overlapping if you wanted. I don't see why that would be an issue. I'm pretty happy with that. All right, next section of feathers. Next body veilings, we should call them, and that's what they are. These don't quite match color-wise. They're a little bit off, but they are the best that I've got. So they will have to do. And all I'm doing here is I'm lining up with the rear veiling so that way they all flow together nicely as one. You can overlap the feathers just a little bit to give them that nice effect, but you don't want to have any space between the feathers. For this pattern, they should be all tucked up nice close together. Rear feather. So we've got these lined up now, and I'm just pulling away the fluff from the back. Just all these little feathers, these little fibers on the back here that we don't typically use on much any flies. Looks like we can probably remove a few more. So I'm going to use my tweezers and just remove these few here. And then right at the base of the feather on the stem, we're going to kink it just a little bit. And that little kink will be our tie-in point. I'm sort of on the underside here. Let's see. Alright, so we want these to lay closer to the hook, closer to the other pair. And if you look, what's going on is right here, there's a few on this upper lip here that are getting in the way, that are causing a little bit of an issue there. So we're going to remove these and just pull a little bit away from right that one spot. So we'll just hold the two together and use our tweezers to just remove these few. Try that again, see if it makes a difference. I don't know. There we are. That's what we're kind of aiming for here. Well, I'm going to just this tiny little bit of an issue. Bear with me here while I just make some corrections. Just a couple of little adjustments with a couple of these guys here. We're having to mess with this all over again here in a minute. There we go, that's what I was looking for. That's what I was trying to get to. Okay. Now that I know that I can do that, and I can make it look like that, we can move forward. You see at the front here, my underbody material has started to unravel a little. And I'm going to do the same. Well, first let's put on the upper veiling, shall we? Just trim this one down a little bit. We'll just pluck away some of these and shorten it. Just a few more. Just grab the other pair to that. Get that one squared away. That one doesn't match very well though. That one, as you can see, is almost a black purple. But that'll be on the back side, which in the frame would be the non-viewing side. Not the same shape though. And those two are not the same shape. Well, I think this is my option. So we're putting this one on, and the black feather will just have to sit on the back. And it doesn't fit the size. That's a problem. How off are we? No, not too bad. Not too bad. I'll try to remove a few of these lower ones right there. And this should tie in. I think we're closing in on the winner here. Let's see. That looks much better. Using my needle to get between the two stems a little bit. Relieve some of the pressure that they're putting on each other. When two feathers are pushing against each other, they can create pressure, which can then kind of affect how the feathers lay on the hook. And right now, these two are kind of